Welcome to the program on tonight, Tyrone Bowman live. Glad to have you on board. For those of you that will be joining me, for those of you that are celebrating prematurely about Vice President Kamala Harris becoming the next president, you might want to put the celebratory moment on hold. Always remember, a race isn't over until it is completely and thoroughly finished. I told you all some time ago that former President Donald Trump is not going to go to prison. Some of you didn't like it and you threw a whole lot of comments right back at me, and it's all good. But former President Donald Trump is not going to prison, as former President Richard M. Nixon didn't go to prison. That's why former President Gerald Ford, when he was Nixon's vice president, he was made president for the purpose of pardoning Richard Nixon. And former President Trump has too many connections. He's well connected, not just within the United States of America, but throughout the world. When you're a billionaire and you're on the level of other billionaires and you have put a lot of quote unquote conservative justices on the federal bench and the U.S. Supreme Court, you'll be getting good news. So let's get right down to it. According to the Atlantic Journal Constitution, as former President Trump is campaigning in Arizona, I think it's Maricopa County, Arizona, a judge has given him some good news. So a Fulton County judge down in Georgia has stricken 3 more counts in the Trump indictment case. So that is a good reason for him to be celebrating, and I'm quite sure he's doing a lot of it. So let's get down to this article. According to the Atlantic Journal Constitution, Fulton Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee struck 3 additional counts from the year-old indictment that alleged former President Donald Trump and 14 others were involved in a felony conspiracy to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results. So the judge is siding with the former president. He's got rid of 3 of the additional counts. And what is the reasoning behind it? McAfee said the U.S. Constitution's supremacy clause mandated the removal of the counts which involve alleged false statements made in federal court. So there you have it. So whatever false statements were made that has been docketed, they've now been stricken from the record. So these 3 counts, they are what we call in the world of law, they are moot. And I don't know if it's with prejudice or without prejudice. So there you have it. Those 3 counts are gone. For now, McAfee's order affects only 2 of the 15 remaining defendants in the case, Attorney John Eastman and State Senator Sean Still. But the judge's findings would eventually apply to the other defendants charged of those counts, including Trump, once the Georgia Court of Appeals lifts a stay impacting the bulk of the case. The latter issued the stay earlier this summer as a 3-judge panel considers a request to remove Fulton District Attorney Fani Willis from the case due to an alleged conflict of interest. Let me break this down here. Even though Fani Willis won re-election as the Fulton County District Attorney, it is most likely that this 3-panel judge, I could be wrong, I'm going to state this, but I think they're going to remove her completely from the case. And the so-called conflict of interest, it has to do with that she had a sexual tryst with now former prosecutor, Mr. Wade. So all these issues have been argued on the appellate level. They've been argued on the federal level, and they're going to continue to argue them until she is thoroughly removed from the case. And most likely, if the Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is removed from the case, they are going to put a Republican prosecutor in the case. And once that happens, the case is going to be thrown out. The entire indictment will be tossed out, should that happen. In response to McAfee's order, Steve Sadow, Trump's lead Atlanta attorney, said, quote, President Trump and his legal team in Georgia have prevailed once again. There you have it. I think Trump said during the debate that the other night in Philadelphia, that the other remaining indictments, they are going to be thrown out, because I'm paraphrasing him. He said they were winning and they were going to continue to win, and eventually the other indictments are going to be thrown out as well. And let me interject this before I finish reading this article. One thing that the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to put it this way, the Philadelphia Eagles have always prematurely celebrated and never won the Super Bowl until a couple years ago. You can't celebrate until it's time to celebrate. You can't plan a celebration party. You cannot do any of these things until the race is concluded. And once the race is over, and the race is by a long shot, not over yet. And the one thing the Democrats have always done, they keep making that constant mistake, always prematurely celebrating. You cannot celebrate until it's final, until it's finished, until it's over, until it's completed. Remember that. Y'all better keep it together. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, keep it together, stay the course, do what you're supposed to do. In terms of Vice President Kamala Harris wanting to debate Trump again, there's no need for a second debate. What's done is done. Let it be that. He claimed victory, you claim victory, yada, yada, yada. It's done. It's finished. Move on. Get in contact with your grassroots organizations. Get in contact with the people who are your core and your base that are supporting you all the way. Because on the Trump side, you can see they're playing, and they're playing hardball. Willis's spokesman, Jeff DeSantis, said prosecutors are currently reviewing the order and declined to comment further. In a separate order also issued Thursday, McAfee left intact the meanest count of the case, felony racketeering. Why would he throw out 3 counts and then leave in the meanest part of the case? To me, that sounds like appeasement. Either throw it all out or throw none of it out, because you know they're going to ferociously argue it on their side. The decision comes in 6 months after McAfee nixed 6 additional counts from the indictment, saying they lacked sufficient detail. There are now 32 remaining felony counts. Well, we're going to find out exactly how all this is going to unfold. So kudos to Trump and the Trump team. They have prevailed. When somebody prevails, you got to give them their credit. I told you on this program, I will fairly cover Donald Trump the same way I cover Kamala Harris. This is not personal with me. This is just good journalism. All right? Until next video, never surrender, never quit.